Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to do some basic body work. Metal straightening, sanding a body filler, applying of primer. But got a little fender bender here. Kind of looks like somebody punched it, maybe. I don't know. But kind of in a perfect spot. Not a fun color to deal with, but it's in the middle of the fender, not here, where we can kind of just blend off and not have to paint the door or the bumper, just the fender. So that saves time and money. So I'm going to gather my tools together, probably going to pull out the inner liner so I can get to the back of it, start my metal straightening and hammer and dolly. And so let's get to it. But it's just that type of joint, and I forget what that name of that is, a bally thingamajiggy. Anyway, so yeah, well, see, it's in. Oh, man. Okay, to remove that inner fender, I had to use a 9/32 or 7mm little socket, which there's two screws up underneath here in the front, and then there's a lot of little push-in clips, and that requires this. So pretty simple, straightforward. Now let's we can get right behind here, and we can do our metal work. So let's get to doing that. Okay, we have our various little tools, which would be, this is my favorite, little fiberglass handle, flat face, flat pick on the end. Another one here, a little round-faced hammer. I put that on there. Sometimes I don't want to mar up paint. And various dollies of choice. Another type of dolly in a sense, or a slapper spoon. Anyway, let's get to work. As you can see, I'm using this to hold this ridge right here. If I just kept beating on the back of here, it would shove everything out, and this wheel well opening would not be straight. So we're holding here, pushing out here. Now I'm working this little style line a little bit with this edge. And this is just kind of the rough end, as we say, or I'm saying. Need to get you a little bit closer. Okay, I'm going to continue working this style line a little bit right here. got a buckle right here because this is pushed in. So this is a high spot, this goes in. So I want to push on the high spot to bring out the low spot. Okay. Weird, something just fell out of the tree. So I have my dolly here against this line, and I'm tapping the high spot. Trying to straighten this wheel well. And see, we have different faces here. A little flat face, a wedge, and I'm going to use that wedge for this edge of the wheel well. And I'm going to tap this. This little buckle right here. Don't know if you can even see it, really. It's not really moving yet. So got a buckle here even. Great. That means I'm farther into my door. So maybe we can just get away with it. Well, it might, if I'm patient enough. So this buckle is caused from this coming out this way. It takes your line and kind of does that. So this metal, because it's folded this way, has to give somehow, causes a buckle. So as we push it in, it takes this little buckle and flattens it back out. It'll need a little help, of course. So that's why I'm feeling how flat I am. I'm also looking down. I know you can't see behind there and what I'm doing with this. I'm trying to feel for the low spot. So I take my corner and kind of feel for it. And then I'm actually pushing my corner. When I feel this, I push out right here with the corner. Not so much this, because I'm being a little more aggressive. I want it to come out. A lot of guys, and even myself, would have just knocked it out, got it in a rough shape, put mud over it, on down the road we go. But I'm trying to look at it this way. The closer I get it in metal work, spend a little more time, the quicker my mud work goes. Mud work, body filler, Bondo, whatever you want to call it. So either way, I'm going to spend time on here one way or another. So better to have less body filler when you can. Okay, now I'm using the flat side here to just kind of level things out. And I say flat side, but that's the rounded side. This is the flat side. Because of the shape of the fender, I need to get it rounded and get my little dents out. Still low, 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 little low, little low. So, I'm going to keep working, but it's coming around. But it's going to take a little while, so I'll be back. Okay, everybody, well, apparently I messed up my camera or something, so I'm going to try to remember what I talked about in the last little segment, because I don't know. So anyway, I believe it was talking about hammering on dolly and off dolly to move a piece of metal. You want to hammer off dolly, if you have a piece of metal, for example, this is your low spot, this is your high spot. You put the dolly underneath the low spot, okay, and push. And then you tap with whatever you're using the high spot. That in turn brings them together. So that's hammering off dolly. You're not hitting the dolly, you're hitting and moving the high spot to meet the low spot. Essentially, you're just kind of meeting in the middle, and that should be where it needs to be. Now, hammering on dolly, I was using this one, for example, to get some of my smaller little tiny low spots, because trying to push them up with a whole flat dolly wasn't really working for me. So sometimes I'll use a smaller part of the dolly to get right on and do fine little details. But anyway, you push on that and then you tap until you hear that, per se. You're hitting the dolly. Okay, so that should bring your low spot up, and when you tap it, it kind of stretches the metal a little bit, creates a little dimple. And let me see if I can show you. If you can look across here, I'll do the best that I can. These were some of my low spots, but if you look, there's very fine little dimples in it. Okay, there's still some bigger low spots, and I'll continue working. This lines in a little bit, but anyway, so you continue to work. You got to be careful, because if you create those little dimples, you can create a new high spot. So you don't want to go too far, you don't want to hit it too hard. This whole area is kind of low. Sometimes you got a little high spot up here from when something's pushed in. Anyway, you push on your low spot, tap your high spot, off dolly. And sometimes I use a glancing blow to kind of drive it towards my low spot. Seems kind of crazy, but it can work. So this still needs a little work as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to do some more of that. And once I get that done, then I will go to body filler. But looking a lot better, won't have much body filler in it, so we'll see you when I get to that point. Okay, ready for my body filler. I prep my surface with 80 grit. Now I apply a skim coat for adhesion. And I'm going to apply a little extra, and I'm going to try something. And that's this product right here. I use these on occasion, and I'm going to try it on here. You flex, it's flexible, this particular one, and you get it to go to the shape of the fender. And look how much extra body filler I put on there that I didn't really need. And you let that sit and it'll crack off later because it's got a Teflon coating on it. Like I said, you can learn how to use this tool, and I'm not that great at it. Look how much body filler I mixed and then I didn't need. So we will let that set up and do some sanding. Be right back. Okay, while we're letting this dry, and it's tacked up pretty good already, but a lot of times before it gets too hard, you can come back with a cheese grater and grate it with that, level it off, cut out the majority of your body filler. I've got a little bit much right here, so I'm going to hit that a little bit, just lightly. So I can feel the difference. I didn't use that straight edge on here. And I can feel the difference in the way the bodywork is, the body filler was applied. This is kind of a hump in a sense. As you can see where I'm using the cheese grater, which is straight, and it's kind of working that flat. Now, it's not on here that thick, so sanding won't take me that long. Here I can feel the difference of it. It's applied nice and flat. Goes with the curve of the fender. Here it gets a little thicker. I did apply some with the putty knife because when I brought my straight edge down, I kind of dug it out right there. But that's okay. A little more is better than not enough. Fewer times you have to apply, the better off you are. So now as far as my metal work, some people can and I'm just going to give an example. Say this is a straight edge or this is a metal file. I don't have a metal file. You can come on your body work and kind of scuff over it, and it will show you your high and low spots, and then you can continue in working. I could see a lot of my high and low spots because of the reflection of the paint. So that's why I didn't sand it with a flat file or sanding board or anything like that. It's because I could already see it. I knew where I wanted to be. So this is getting tacked up. And I'm going to tape off some areas because I don't want 80 grit scratches going way out beyond my work area. And I'm going to use this smaller flat rubber block and I use sticky back sandpaper. A lot of times I will take a block like this, that's a Durablock for example, but it's flexible, and I will set my sandpaper flat just depends on how it's coming out. If I can't get my shape, then I'll do something like this. So put my sandpaper flat to get that curve. And then bring my block to that. What that does is it helps it to hold the shape. See that little bit of a curve? That will make it nice as far as sanding that and keeping this curve that's this way. And a shorter block, skinnier block, helps you work the curve this way. So we have compound curves. And I'm going to use this little block to see how we're going to do first. Because this block's a little long. I don't really want to use it. I don't want to get out into this area or this area or this area. But we'll see what happens. Already going through right there, it's good. I'm going to back off that area a little bit and work back here some. Okay, going through here. It's feeling nice and flat. Going through here. I need to probably concentrate a little more up here, which I'm already going through here. So that's basically flat at the moment. So I'm going to work up here. You see how I'm holding my block? I'm not holding it this way, and just because of our compound curve. I'm working my edges a little bit more than the center, just barely. And as you see, I'm kind of going across this way, this way. I'm going to get to a point that I'm going to stop with this 80 grit and move to 180. So I'm getting thin here, so I'm going to back off that with the 80 grit. Going to switch to 180. And I'll be right back. I'm also going to use a guide coat. This will help. This is dry guide coat. It's from 3M. This, you know, when you first buy it, seems a little expensive, but it lasts a long time. So this is my 180. So, should be wearing a dust mask, safety glasses, all that good stuff. That's up to you. I can't talk very well and wear a dust mask. So, what I'm doing at this point is feathering things out. Sanding down the guide coat. And as you see what happens with your guide coat, it helps you develop your lines. See what's happening here. As I sand, you can see the little dark areas of the 80 grit. Up here, we've got pretty much most of them out. But that's our goal, is to get out the deeper scratches. Okay, now in this case, I'm going to probably go down to a 320. This isn't sticky back, but it's got enough stickiness here to take care of the problem. I'm going to remove my little pieces of tape. Anytime the finer you can go, and 320 is about fine enough, the less apt you are to have shrinkage in your primer. And I use 2K urethane primer, which is good primer, but it can shrink if you go over too heavy of sand scratches like 80 grit. And what I mean shrink is you will, and we can even use guide code on that. See how that works. Always blow it off because you're going to have dust in your sand scratches, and this won't want to go into it because it's pretty fine. Or, well, it goes into it because it's fine, but if it's filled with body filler dust, it won't go in there. So, we don't mind the 320 out here on the edges because the body filler will fill that up, and I'm feeling a spot right there. That's a little dent. Dang it. Excuse my back. I believe I didn't see it. Dang, I thought we were going to get away with one fill, but hardly ever happens. So, I've got a small little high spot here that I can feel barely. A little bit of something here, a little bit of something right there. Sometimes that happens when you're trying to keep it very small. And anyway, I'm going to come back, spot putty these in, not spot putty, but another type of body filler. Check for any pinholes, and I'll take care of those at the same time. So, be right back. Okay, I got behind here and tapped up and leveled that out a little bit. Still didn't like how it was feeling. Probably could have came out in primer, but I just put a little skim coat of a putty on it, which is not a putty, it's 3M's body filler, which is like glazing putty almost. So I'm going to show you a little trick I do now. I actually feel a little high spot right there. So I've gone around this, the outside with a 500 scuff pad, which is a little kind of coarse. So, and when I say coarse, it's probably more like 400. So that's what I finished my edges off with. See what that looks like. Anyway, A little trick. This has prep solve in it. So my little trick is going to be this. Soak her down, and now look at it. And yeah, you're going to see a little ripple because of the liquid. And hopefully it's just the liquid. And I'll come out with primer. And here's some heavy scratches that apparently I didn't get, or those were from the slapper. So those make it look a little rough. But we're gonna hit that again. But you get the idea. What I'm doing is putting some shine on it and looking for imperfections. And things that will hide and won't hide. You'll learn if you have a combination curve like so, which is very hard to get flat. But I'm also seeing here, these are little pinholes, okay, in the body filler. If I had skimmed it with this body filler, we'd have taken care of that. Those are such small pinholes that primer will fill it. So I'm not worried about it. But that's your guide coat stuck in there. So anyway, you get an idea of what I was saying. It's curved this way, it's curved this way. So it's like sanding a ball. And you can't hardly sand a ball and not feel something. But because it's a ball or rounded, you don't see a lot of things, because it's not like looking down the side of the car that's completely flat. If you follow me. So anyway, you'll get my idea as you do more stuff. So this is prepped. I'm going to let that dry off. I'm going to get it in where I can spray some primer on it, and we'll see you in a bit. Good morning, everybody. We are back. Primer is dried for actually a couple days. I prefer to let it do a couple days to help lessen my shrinkage. A lot of production shops don't. A couple hours if you're lucky, maybe. So what I'm going to do is, I'm starting off with 320. Just want to knock some stuff down and straighten it out. Got a little trash from my gun in the primer. That's the way it goes. It's called doing body work. So here we go. And as you can see, I did put a guide coat on it. It's a sprayable guide coat. And I'll put that, not in the comments, but I'll just put it in the caption. But you can see, just knocking this down, a little bit of imperfections that I had, and we want to straighten that out. I'm using this little block because I want to. And I'll go from 320 to a 600. I'll put a guide coat on it. But if I were to use 600, which I could, I would just be here longer. And I don't want to be. So, like I said, I had some imperfections in here that I'm wanting to get out. And if I can't get them out, I will reprime this and go for another day. Got my sky cam. Be right back. Sandpaper goes a long way if you keep it cleaned out. Doesn't gum up. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually just run a light bit of pressure of air when I'm sanding. I don't know if that's irritating for you guys, but it helps keep your paper a little cleaner. And this 2K primer, I've done a little test with it. I've left it dry in my cup liners and put dates on them to see how long it takes to completely cure, and it's about 30 days. So anytime under that window, you could have shrinkage. So just a little FYI, I guess. But to help eliminate a lot of shrinkage, keep going as fine as you can with sandpaper, like we finished this with 320. Really shouldn't see any kind of shrinkage with that. Not saying it won't, but could. Also, when putting your base on, don't load it and load it and load it until it's covered. Let it flash between coats. That'll let your solvents evaporate. You keep loading and loading and loading, and I can tend to do that. but it pushes your solvents down farther, and then they come back out. So if you get in a hurry and load it, well, you're opening yourself up for some error. You can see I'm doing a lot of cross hatching, again because the panel's rounded several ways. A little bit of trash right there. And what appears to be factory finish. As you can see, I'm trying to get that out, and I'm not just concentrating on that and getting that out, because that'll create a flat spot. So I'm going everywhere, but always just kind of coming back to this. And there. It's still there a little bit, but I'm going to switch over to 600. I'm going to first put a little guide coat on. I find even though I put a guide coat on 320, you really still need to be careful. It's like the guide coat doesn't really go into the 320. And I'm switching pads. This pad's a little more flexible. I mean, I've got my shape that I want, so this will just finish it off, and this kind of contours to our fender, as you can see. And that guide coat's gone right away. When you drop your sandpaper on the ground, blow it off. You might pick up a piece of dirt. Not on my floor, you wouldn't. Just kidding. Try to keep it as clean as possible, but you know, it is what it is. Now I've sanded. No, that's just the gold. No biggie. On a sharper edge, which I didn't, I rolled my tape for this, but you got to be really careful and not to leave that. That's why I broke it here. Plus I didn't want primer going up into here, because this is going to be my blend area. Hope my hand's not in the way. I'm sure it was. Now when you put your primer on, for example, don't put your primer on, start here, stop here, and then put your next coat on, start here, stop here. Don't keep layering them, because what you'll end up with here is a hump. So take your primer, the first coat, as far as you're going to go, and make that your first coat. Second coat, don't stop where you ended, come in a little bit. Okay? Come in a little bit from where you ended. Third coat, come in a little bit. You know, fifth, sixth, you know, same thing, keep coming in a little bit until you get your coverage. And what you want to do, what that does is tapers this down, makes it easier to feather out. So you don't have issues later on. You can create your own waves just with simple primer. And I've done it, you know. Sometimes it just happens. You just gotta check your work. Okay, I don't see, no, spoke too soon. Okay. Okay, now I'm actually going to well, I probably won't do it with this. This is 800. Don't like that paper. It's kind of a plastic back paper. Doesn't bend well. It's only for your DA, you know, obviously. Where these, they're a little better. They're not great, but they're a little better. And they wrap around my little pads better. So, it feels good. Next thing I want to do is this was told to me by a friend of mine, and I need to sand that. That's just a little overspray from priming. But I will once I do this. I'm going to compound this area here to clean it. So I'm going to compound this area to clean it, this area, and up here, just to make sure any contaminants are out of it, as well as it brings the true color out. That's the theory behind it. So we're going to give that a shot. We'll see what happens. Be right back. Okay, our pad is as clean as we're going to get it for the moment. And I hate it when I forget to close these, and then nothing comes out anymore. There. Smear it around a little so you don't fling it everywhere. Okay. Going to now do a little prep solve. Wipe off anything that I may have put on there. Oh, I was going to do the door. This is another way. You can just put it on your pad. Kind of helps to not fling it everywhere. Okay. We're back again. Wipe our stuff down. Feels clean. As clean can be, I guess. Yeah, we're going to sand it. Don't get me wrong. Even though you're sanding it, he says that it still doesn't just pull the contaminants up out of it. So, and he's kind of experimented with it. It seems to work. So we'll give it a try because we need a good match. This is gold. Gold is a pain. Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Be honest with you. I'm not a good tinter. Okay. Let's get back to sanding. Since this is gold, I'm going to do out here where my blends area are, I'm going to do 1,000. Sand the rest of this fender with 1000 grit. I'll scuff over this with 1000 grit. Try to get that little imperfection out. I'm going to run a piece of tape here, as basically I don't trust myself. Just a little added protection so I don't sand the other parts that don't need to be sanded. Because just when you say, oh, I don't need to do that, that's when it happens. You know, it happens when you're sanding here and your pad bumps here. No, it's not like I haven't ever done that before. But you live and learn. So I'm going to tape this, and I'll be right back. Okay, back. We got her all taped. I'm going to keep on sanding. I like these little pads. This is from these people. They come in all kinds of grits, 180, 500, whatever. Okay, well, so you get the idea here, obviously. Around sand all your edges. Sand everything, make sure it's not shiny anywhere. When I go to paint, I'm going to bulldog it first. Bulldog meaning it's just a type of adhesion promoter. And also, what that helps to do, and I know I'm going to say the wrong name on this, but puts down a wet coat, kind of a medium blend coat, whatever, blend wet coat, anyhow. Puts down a coat of a clear. Helps fill any of your sand scratches that you have. And it's not a clear, but it's kind of a clear. So it helps to fill any sand scratches you may have, so it helps your blend go better, especially on silvers or golds or GMs, what I call champagne color. So keep that in mind. I'll get this scuffed down and over to my buddy's spray booth, and we'll see you then. Okay, we've got it in the booth. I'm going to do my back taping. This is how I do it. Everybody's a little different. So here we go. Make sure you wipe your edges where you're taping, because you don't need the tape to come off. That's how dirty that little edge was. Taping isn't my specialty. Not the funnest part of what I do. But it's part of it, so you got to know how to do it. The idea of this is we're sealing this off by back taping it. We're sealing off this jam by back taping the fender here. And if you do this right, when you roll this over, and you roll it over enough, don't leave it stick just way up here, but roll it over enough so the paint can blow down around a little bit. That gives you a nice edge, and then if anything, you can just come in here on this edge and clean it up. If sand it with 1,000 or something, rub it out if you have to. Or even 1,500, 3,000, whatever your preference is. Mine is 3,000. So anyhow, now we're going to shut the hood. So, make sure everything clears, and it's not. And come back over here. Sometimes you need to tear it so it doesn't fold over on you. So now we peel back our tape from the fender, trying not to pull it off the fender. I'll show you what I'm doing is I'm just rolling the edge in enough. See that? You don't want that right down there. So you work it with your fingers. Get it up off that edge. And I'm going to show you what else once we get it rolled back. Take our other piece of tape, attach it to it, and roll it over. So, that's our back taping. And you see my tape, my edge rolls over, but my tape is attached. So what that'll give me is a nice break. The clear will go over the edge, but they'll barely leave an edge on the inside. And if it does, like I said, you can scuff it with a little 300, rub it out, and it'll be gone. So, we'll continue doing some more back taping. Same thing with this door edge. We're going to back tape that. But like I said, what that does is that seals that jam up, so now dirt can't come out of it. That's the biggest problem, and that's where you get a lot of dirt from, is if we just left, if we just taped it off like so, like we used to do way back when, then dirt can blow out of here. We don't want that. So that's why we back tape. And if And I know there's other little videos out there, people showing you how to back tape. I suggest you watch them because there's good ideas out there. I got the idea of back taping, you know, from somebody else. Been in this business a long time, done this for a long time, but you can always do better. And if you're not willing to do better, then don't do it anymore. How's that? Nobody's perfect. And I try to get pretty close. As close as I can without creating more of an edge. See, if I were to get that right on that edge, then I've created kind of a problem, a little cliff, or I don't know what you want to call it, but anyway. Anyway, it's a good back tape there. Wheel well, we're going to back tape on the back side of this flange. So you got to clean your flange off, which I did. And we're going to tape up that wheel well so we don't get any dirt off the tire out of the wheel well. And cover the whole car with plastic. And I'm going to do all that and see you in a bit. Okay, I've got all my taping done. Now I'll just put the plastic over it, cut it out, and tape the plastic to it. But as you can see, we rolled off the edge. So it'll give us a nice edge. If you can remove a part, especially this here, remove it. I've back taped. And I will seal this off so dirt won't come out of here. I used to, before I learned how to back tape or about back taping, I used to kind of, in a sense, do a back taping. I would try to tape up my jams. For one reason, I wouldn't get overspray in it. Secondly, I wouldn't get dirt come out of it. So I would tape up the jams, kind of roll it, and shut the door. Before they came up with back taping ideas, you know, this foam stuff for the jams. You take this, for example. If I can get a piece out of here. Take this, for example. If I was painting, say, the whole side, I would push, and this is hard to do with one hand, but this has a little sticky part on the back side, so you push that and I kind of stretch this piece out. So rough example is that sticks to that, you close the door and voila, that's sealed. Okay, you got your edge is still there so the paint can go around it, but no dirt can come out of it, no extra overspray can go in. So, wonderful idea. But we're not painting the whole side, we're painting a fender. So this is how we do that. I'm going to put some plastic in and then get ready to spray this thing. See you in a bit. Hey, okay, well, we're done spraying the base. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but one end to the other were blended, and we stayed away from here and up here. So we blended it out. I did not use Bulldog this time. I, towards the end, thinned my base out a little bit and melted everything in. So we'll see. Looks good here. So I'm gonna put that clear on. Usually I see everything in here more than I see it outside. So we'll get that clear on. Gotta wait about 30 minutes and we'll get back to you. Okay, we have our second coat of clear on. That's how she looks. Color's nice, from what you can see. So, we'll see you tomorrow. Hey everybody, we are done with the little Equinox fender repair. This is what it looks like, a little bug. This is what it looks like. Anyway, so we are done and came out really nice. We'll see you on the next video.